Welcome to this video. This is a remake of my original Creation by Numbers #1 video, and that's just because even during the book Powers of 9 my creation theory evolved, and it's still evolving, so this is kind of like an update on that, although it might just replace it because I'm going to try and add in the information that was also in that video in this one, as opposed to just a top-up. So, in the beginning, there was nothing. There was sound. There was the Word of God. The Word, which makes me always think when I've got the circulating, vibrating energy circuit here, which is sound. All sound has come from vibrations of energy. So when we stick the little M there, we get the So the sound, which when we are vowel chanting, it is the O sound. Is that really tuning us back into the original energies that pervaded the universe back when the Big Bang happened? So story is a story, and let's see where this story takes us, because in the beginning there was a vibrational energy, a circuit of energy that vibrated, and as we know now from cell production, as production, multiplication, whatever, as above so below. So after a period of time, and probably I could probably do it like this. So you've got the Vesica Pisces there, and eventually that would have separated out to give us two vibrating, resonating circles. I don't know exactly how that works in the world of biology, but it does. One cell can reproduce itself to become two identical cells. So here we have two identical vibrating energetic masses, and then obviously one can become two can become four can become 8, and these numbers 1, 2, 4, 8 becomes 16. 1 plus 6 reduced gives us the 7, and 16, I'll just put that in there, 16 becomes 32, and 32 reduced gives us the 5. These numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and even on to 64 are very prominent numbers when you look at the planes of existence tables in terms of the number of lifespans in different planes. Often these numbers repeat through that pattern, through those series. So evolution has already started. In the beginning there was the Word, the energy, and then they separated. There was the heavens and the earth. I'm not following the Bible story really, and at one point God says, "Let there be light." So what happens at this point? When God said, "Let there be light," what happened was those words in the story tell us about a break in one of these vibrating energetic masses. And what happened? So this then became a string of energy. I'm now entering into string theory, even though I've got no basis to talk about quantum mechanics, quantum physics, But this vibrating string, which is the same length as this vibrating circuit, at some point turned back in upon itself and created the 9. So let's be more clear about this as well. What do we mean by turning back in upon itself? And so we can relate this, we can ground this into our own personal practice, because quite often we're buzzing around the energetic circuit, the wheel, which is just busy with our day-to-day routines and doing this, doing that, tack. And also the other element is we're also quite often caught up in mental cognition, mentation of thinking about this, thinking about that, thinking about what happened yesterday, the future, the past, the fantastical in our imaginations, and we're not really here in the present. Now, for those who are on some sort of spiritual practice, then one of the key elements of any practice is that we come back to self-awareness. So we turn back in upon ourselves and we go, okay, yes. And in that moment of coming back to presence, we become aware of the body, we become aware of our emotions, we become aware of that we've been doing other stuff, lost in mind, lost in mental activity, egoic streams of thought, and we become aware of our environment in those moments. And that is a big part of the spiritual path, turning back upon ourselves, self-awareness, self-consciousness. And obviously the path of practice is to come more and more into those spaces and come more and more out of being caught up particularly in egoic mental streams. Plenty on that in other stuff. So at this point, let's come back to the creation story. We've got the vibrating, resonating circuit, and we've got the one that broke. We got the duplication of the original. Then we got the evolutionary. Well, the evolutionary was already 1 becoming 2, and then the second evolutionary step was that the circuit broke and then turned back in upon itself, self-consciousness, self-awareness. So 9 is really that symbol of self-conscious awareness. And then I can play with this in a few different ways, so let me play for a minute. Well, first of all, we'll note that we have the egg shaped. So chicken or the egg, which came first? The egg. And then we have the sperm shaped figure of the 9, and it's possible that 9, when he became self-conscious, maybe he felt a certain lack within himself, that he was separated out from the original cell, and maybe he thought, I want to go back in. So maybe some fertilization happened here as the 9 came back in to the original cell, the original 0. So there he is. There's the 9 coming back into the original cell to feel that resonance, the feminine energy once again. And that is why, obviously I've drawn a yin-yang here, and that is possibly the creation, or one reason why the creation of the 6 happens, because the 9 came back in and created the 6, which is going to be the feminine element. Not only is it the inversion of the 9, which is the universal consciousness, the first time that the universe became self-aware, but it's the inverse which gives us the 6, which is the universal energy. Just that it's the 0 is the universal vibration, and this is the 6, which brings that down onto the more manifest level. So possibly there's the creation of the 9 and the 6. But another way that the 9 may have created the 6 is just that the 9 was going to have another evolutionary moment where we've already had one break happen, so why not have a second break in the chain happen? So what would that look like? Well, obviously it would have to be something that was harmony, tuned up to the energetic vibrations that had happened through the creation of the 0 and then the 9. And so the 9 split into 1/3 and 2/3. So this, I'm not a musician. I don't really understand music theory whatsoever, but the basic fundamental that I understand is that if you've got a string and the tension is the same as well, and you play this string, and then you take a length which is exactly half of the original string, and with a similar or same tension, and you play this, you get the exact same note but a pitch higher or lower. So what we can understand here is that to have this perfect harmony, this resonance, the 9 broke down into 2/3 and 1/3. So if we took that point, say there, then this would be 1/3 and this would be 2/3, and they would be like the 2-to-1 ratio here, which would be, and if we break down the 9 into a 2-to-1 ratio, 1/3 and 2/3, then we get a 6 and we get a 3. So this would be the creation of the 3. So this is universal consciousness and energy, and then this, we're entering more now into the manifest world. So God created the heavens and the earth, then he created the land and the seas, for example. But let's take a quick look at the circle, because the energy was a circuit of energy, of vibrating energy here. So this was the circuit which was complete, which broke at a certain point, and then the energy, we're going to come here, which is the top, which is 360 degrees, and or it could also be 0 degrees, so 0 as in here. But then when it was broken down and divided into by the 9, we produced the 3 and the 6, which is the 2-to-1 ratio, harmonic. I don't know what I'm talking about too much. But if we see also that if we break, you see, this point here, therefore, numerologically is a 9. 3, 6 plus 0 equals 9. And this also equals 9. So this is also why, when we look at the theory, particularly in the book, The Powers of 9, the 9 and the 0 are kind of interchangeable in a lot of the numerological theory, because the 9 and the 0 are essentially the same, and they're certainly the same length. They were the same length, it was just that this one broke. So these guys, the father and the mother, are the same size, which is kind of important. But if we say that they're the same size and we break this down into 1/3 and 2/3, then this point would be 1/3 of the circle here, and that is 120 degrees. So, and that's important because this would be the part which became the 3, and 1/3 of 9 is 3, and this part here would be 240 degrees, and this would be the part that was the 6 in terms of the breakdown of 9. So why am I telling this story? We'll come to it. So the 6 is the universal energy, but next generation, and the 3 is representative of the 9 in the next generation. This is universal consciousness, but coming down into the manifest world, and this essentially is our Trinity: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, if you like, which is the spirit, the energy, the vibration of the original 0. And Father like Son, as the story goes, the Son saw what the Father had done, and so the Son said, well, I'll do the same. I will break down into 1/3 and 2/3, or this 2-to-1 ratio. And so 1/3 of 3 is 1, and 2/3 of 3 is 2. And we can see there in the number of degrees that we've already got the 1 and 2 outlined here as being part of the makeup of the number 3. However, what happened here as well is when we came down the next level, the 6 as universal energy in the manifest world doesn't change, doesn't transform, it stays. And let's have a little look at that diagrammatically, what's happening. Because this creation, I mean, are we talking about the creation of the universe? Are we talking about the creation of galaxies, of the planet, or of the sphere that we are ourselves, the sphere of energy that we are? Ultimately, as above, so below, we're probably talking about the 2. I'm going to tune in a little bit more to just the person, so the creation of the human being, Adam and Eve, if we're still on the creation story. So as these numbers came down, the 6, 1, 2, to create, then what happened was the 1 and the 2 rested initially at the top, consciousness. But the 6 transcended all the way down to the bottom. So this is at the base chakra, at the bottom here. And this 6 is the coiled serpent of Kundalini that is waiting to rise up when the heart chakra opens. Or it is the rising of Kundalini that enables the heart chakra to open, if you want to say it in that way. So we'll take out the harmony of the 1 and the 2. Also, it's worth noting with these origin numbers that if you look at the 9th plane in the 31 planes of creation, the number of years that we will spend in that plane is 9,216 million. But that's the figure. That's the breakdown of the first generation numbers. So these numbers have come down, and now the 6 has gone down to the base chakra, waiting there to be reawakened. And the 1 and 2 have rested at the top, and they're now ready to play and to create. So how are they going to do that? Let's have a little look at how that's going to happen. So the first idea, so the 2 decided to multiply the 1. So there was the 1, and then the 2 times 1 equals 2, and then the 2 times the 2 that had been created, the new 2, and 2 times 2 equals 4, and then the 2 times the new created 4, and we got an 8, and then the 2 times the 8 to get us a 16, which is really a 7 numerologically. 1 plus 6 equals 7, and then the 2 times the 16 to give us 32, which is also breaks down to the 4, and then the 2 times the 32, which gave us the 64, and we discovered that we were back numerologically wise at the 1 with the 10. I can tell you that if you keep timesing by 2, the root numbers will always follow this pattern of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, and so on to infinity. We've already seen these numbers, of course. We see them on the planes of existence as the amounts of years in the other form of the 16, 32, 64, as opposed to the reductions of 8, 7, 5. And this is the numerological sequence of binary cell development that we talked about earlier as well. What we notice about these numbers as well, this chain will keep on going, and you'll never get a 3, you'll never get a 6, and you'll never get a 9 in that chain, because this is the creation of the material world, and the 3, 6, 9 are more the energetic element of creation. So also interesting, if we keep with the non-reduced numbers, and this is what you see in the tables of the planes of existence, go up to 64 as well. But as you can see from here, we've created the numbers that don't exist already, i.e. we've got the 3, 6 and 9, and then we got the 1 and the 2, and then there's only the 8, 4, 8, 7, 5 to be created. And this is also why, check it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, after 6 days of creation, God rested. And this is why there's rest on the 7th day, because everything had been created after the first 6 days. Also, interesting little thing is that if we add all these numbers up, then the answer that you get, 32 plus 16 equals 48, plus 8 goes 56, 60, 62, 63. So when you add those numbers together, the sum is the 2 numbers that they were created out of originally. Okay, I think we can get rid of that at least. And this, I speculate, as being the creation of the manifest world, the world of forms, and the world that we see all around us. But then they also wanted to create the internal world of man. So how are they going to do that? So the 1 and the 2 had another great idea, and the 1 said, instead of multiplying me, this time why don't you divide into me? So the 1 was divided by the 2, and the answer to this came out as 0.5, and this is the creation of the 5. 0.5 numerologically is a 5. And then they took the 0.5 that had been created and they divided that by 2. And this gave 0.25. Add the 2 and the 5 together, you get the 7. They next took the 0.25, divided that by 2, and that gave back the numbers 0.125, and this gave back the 8. They then took the 0.125, divided again the 2 into it, and 0.0625, and this adds together to give us the 16, which equals a 7 when we take it down numerologically. Then 0.0625 divided by 2 equals 0.0, I need to peek for this, 3125, and we add them together. Is that right? That's not 16, is it? What am I talking about there? 11, 12, 13, which equals the 4, and then here we've got the 8, 9, 10, 11, which gives us the 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then finally if we divide this guy 3125 by 2, the answer is 0.01565, and that adds together to give us 19, I believe. 10, 18, 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10, which is the 1. And once again, we've gone full circle and we've created the 6 numbers that make up the 9 numbers that exist as our base numbers. Everything else is made out of that. One interesting point that I want to flag up in this moment is, obviously it's the same again. We can keep dividing these numbers by 2. The pattern will stay the same forever. 5 of reduced numbers, 8, 4, 2, 1. There are 6 numbers, and then on the 7th day God rested. And because these are numbers, always numbers between 0 and 1, this is why they are the internal world. So our emotions, our emotional body, our energetic body. And the interesting thing here as well is that we can keep dividing by 2, and we'll get smaller and smaller numbers, and we will get closer and closer to our original 0, but you will never get back to 0. We can approach 0, we can get really close to that original universal energetic vibration as we go deeper and deeper into our own self, deeper and deeper into our own self-understanding, but we will never actually become 0 whilst we are in this physicalized manifest world. I want to bring it down a little bit, but we started with the 1 here because the 2 divided into the 1 at the beginning, just as the 2 divided into the 1 at the beginning, and then gave us the 5 from the 0.5, then gave us the 7, the 8, the 4 and the 2, the 6 numbers. And in a part of the Powers of 9 book, particularly around the magic grid, I look at the significance of looking at some of the pairings of numbers. And if we pair up these numbers into twos, then what we get here is the 1 and 2 add together to give you a 3. The 4 and 8 add together to give you 12, which breaks down to a numerological reduction of a 3. And the same with the 7 and 5, also comes back to 12, numerologically reduced, gives you 3. So this was the cell formation sequence, if you like, because this was 16 and 32. So we'll call that cell formation sequence. And that came from the 1 and the 2, which was the 3, same, but it's interesting to look at that it comes back from the 3, and that's the form of the outer world, whereas this came from the 2 dividing into the 1, and that gave us our internal world, feelings, emotions, energetic vibrations. And we look at the pairings of these, then the numerological reductions are always 6. So 6 is dealing with our internal energetic world, and the 3 is dealing with how we cognize the manifest world all around us and the more physical forms. So just these are the guiding numbers of the original 6 and 3, which are behind these different sort of sequences of creation. So this was the internal world. The internal world. I'll leave that up for now, but what is also interesting, when we look at this internal development, like the 1 was the original one that has come down, and then we got the 5 created, and then the 7 got created, and then the 8 got created, and then the 4 got created, because this is our internal world, and then the 2 got created, but the 2 was a breakdown of the 0.03125, which was 11. So that's really an 11, that 2 there, and then the next number down would have given us back the 10, which would have been the original 1, and then what's left on this diagram, there's just the original 1 and the original 2. I know we can say that they're there, but this is also the 360 point, the 0 point as well. This is the 0. If we look at that as a circle with 360 degrees, let's throw this in briefly. Also, if we take the word degrees, if we look at degrees and we break it down into numerological reductions, then the D is got a value of 4, fourth letter of the alphabet. E is the 5th letter. G is the 7th. R is the 18th. Then you got 2 more E's, which are worth value of 5 each, and the S is worth 19. And what happens if we add all those numbers together? You get the number 63. But let's take it one more level down. We're going to reduce the numbers here. So the 4 stays the same, the 5, the 7, the 18 becomes a 9, the 5 stays, the 5 stays, and the 19, 1 plus 9 equals 10, 1 plus 0 equals 1, that becomes a 1. And if we add the reduced form down, what we get is 36. Okay, that was just a little extra. And then another little bonus point is interesting, which is then if we actually take these chains of numbers and we put them back into a numerological ordering, then that would be 1, 2, 4, 5, 7 and 8. That's their natural numerological order. Now if we look at the pairs in these guys, that comes back at a 3, those two come back at a 9, and these two give us a 6 from 15. 7 plus 8 equals 15, 1 plus 5 equals 6. So when they're in their, let's call them natural order, then we get back the 3, 9, 6, which is the for me the vibration of the awakened state. But also what is interesting is, let's get rid of these guys. If we were to add these together, we've got the 3 different sets. We've got the numerological ordering, we've got the internal world frequency through division, and we've got the external cell formation sequence through multiplication. Let's add them together. 1, 2, 3. All the 3's give us 3. The 2 2's and the 5 give us a 9. The 2 4's and the 7 give us 15, which reduces down to the 6. The 2 8's and the 5 give us 21, which reduces down to a 3. The 2 7's and a 4 give us 18, which gives us a 9. And the 5, 2 and 8 is 15 again, which gives us a 6. So also, speaking of the 3, 6, 9 frequency, when these are all added together, so when there is a balance and harmony between the conscious awareness of the world all around us, the physical manifest world, the body as well, and the internal vibration and energy in our emotional body, then we come to the 369 frequency of the awakened state. So if we come back to what is becoming our clock over here of creation, the only numbers now that are not present is the original 3. Also, this may be the original 1 and 2, but they're also able to create the 1 and the 2. And in the book I talk about the adding up the internal fractions as well. And obviously you've got the original 9 here, and that essentially gives us our clock, and that is the creation of time, and space. And we'll look into the clock and also how to be out of this continually turning around the clock, around the original energetic vibration in the next video. So thanks for watching this one.